All right, Oggie, welcome back to the show. This is our monthly series on how to be a very successful buy and hold investor. The first episode we covered was why cash flow doesn't matter, which was an amazing episode that people really loved. And if you haven't heard that episode, go back and watch that episode. And the second episode, this is near and dear to my heart, or sorry, part two is near and dear to my heart because I've learned it from you and I've already implemented it. And I can tell you right now, it is, and I know everyone says the word game changer. This is a game changer because when you think about the BRRRR on steroids versus the regular BRRRR, it will open your mind up to endless possibilities, right?
BRRRR on steroids, man.
BRRRR
Yeah.
on juice, exactly. So let's get right into it. We keep these episodes, 20, 25 minutes. We pack them with value. So what is the BRRRR on steroids? Let's just get right into it.
So everybody knows what the regular BRRRR method is. Buy, rehab, rent the property, refinance so you can get your money out, and then repeat the process again so you can keep adding more and more properties with practically the same money that you put in. Put the money in, get out. So the goal is to get as many rental properties for the same amount of cash. So great strategy. The problem, there's some problems with the BRRRR. And that's why we decided to kind of, I've been improving this since I bought my first property in 2016 for the last, 6-7 years, trying to speed up the process and solve the problems. So here are the problems that I figure out that most investors have with the BRRRR. First is, most of it is timing. So when you buy the property, you have to put a down payment to buy the property. Then you have to put additional money for repairs. So now you have a big chunk of cash put into the property. And then when you try to get this cash out, that happens through doing refinancing, cash out refinance. The problem was, and even now it's getting even worse, is the bank does not want to appraise the property at the current market value. They will only consider the purchase price as the value of the property for the first 6 months. And now, since last month, that increased to 1 year.
That is a big problem.
But now we're talking about, the best loans, Fannie, Freddie, conventional. DSCR, some companies also would do, and they want seasoning, but most of them don't. So the biggest problem is the seasoning. In order to give a full market value, full appraisal value, the bank wants you to own the property at the moment for a minimum of 1 year. So this is how it works. You buy the property for $100,000. You put down payment $30,000, and you have a private money loan for $70,000. Then you put $20,000 in repairs. Now you total price $120,000, personal cash out of you, $30,000 for down payment, $20,000 for repairs. You have $50,000 locked into this deal.
Yep.
The property is going to appraise for $200,000 immediately. So you do the repairs, you put the tenant in, you go on the second month to the bank and say, hey, I just bought this property, it's worth $200,000. I want to do a cash out refi so I can get my money out and refi from this hard money loan that it's 12%. The bank says, okay, no problem. They come and see, and the first thing they say, hey, the property is worth $200,000, but you have not owned the property for 12 months. So we're going to have to use the purchase price as your value of the property, which means $100,000. And then from that purchase price, we can only do cash refi up to 75 or 80% LTV, loan to value, which means practically
you're screwed.
It cannot get you money for a year at least.
You have all
Before
this
it was
equity.
6 now. Yeah. So that's the biggest issue with the BRRRR, because it takes you longer now to get your money, and it kind of slows you down to buy more properties. So I found a solution to this problem, so we can do this every month, so you don't have to wait. For a whole year. So that's why we called it the BRRRR on steroids, because it's way, way faster.
100%. What is the solution?
So the solution is to go away from the requirement that the bank wants seasoning. Bank wants you to own the property for 1 year.
This is for a cash out refi we're speaking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
For 1 year in order to do a cash out refi. So the solution is don't do cash out refi.
Bingo.
Change the cash out refi to a similar refi that does not require seasoning. So we found out what type of refi we have to do in order to be able to use the appraisal value the next day after the closing, immediately. So the problem here is, in order to use that particular refi, you can only refi what's called purchase money loan. And purchase money loan is everything that, any loan that you took at the time of the closing, not after, not later, like equity line of credit, seconds. No, at the time of the closing, anything that you took as a loan, later you can refi in that particular refi that we do.
Yeah.
So now that's created a little more issues. So how to get borrow 100% of everything you need for this property from the very beginning, so you can create a purchase money loan, so you can refi later. And I think that's how we started with solving the problem. So this is how we solved it. We have to borrow 100% of everything needed for this property.
Purchase price, rehab, closing costs, etc.
Even if you have to do down payment.
Well, yeah, because you could go private money and do the whole thing, or you could do hard money, and then the gap is still part of the purchase money loan.
So there's two scenarios. One is you have somebody that you can borrow the private money from. Your rich uncle trusts you, or your parents, they want to help you out, and you go to them and say, listen, same scenario that with 100,000. Hey, I have $100,000 property that I'm going to buy. I'm going to put 20,000 repairs, and it's going to be worth 200,000. I'm going to refinance it next day in 30 days, and I will pay you back. Would you help me? Rich uncle says, no brainer. You're my favorite nephew, niece. I will help you out. And so you borrow not just the 100,000 that you're going to buy the property, but also you add the repairs on top. So you buy it for 100, but you borrow for 120. That's going to include the 20,000 of repairs. So when we borrow 100% of everything, then that's how we create purchase money loan for 120,000. So you take the money, you buy the property, then you do the repairs pretty quickly, couple weeks. Then you find a tenant in the meantime, and then within 30 days, probably you already have a tenant you're ready to refi. You know what? By the way, you don't need to wait until the property is ready to start the refi process. You can start the refinance and start doing the paperwork. The only thing that you have to wait is the appraisal. Yes. So once the property is done, has a tenant.
I just did this. That's why I'm so excited, because it's
yeah. So now you have you complete it, and then you have 120,000, one loan that took from the very beginning that included the purchase and the repairs. And then you go to the bank and says, listen, I have a loan, private money loan, that I'd like to refinance with a regular conventional investment loan for 30 years fixed rate. The bank comes and says, okay, we're going to do an appraisal. Appraisal comes at 200,000, and the bank says, usually you're going to have to give us 25% down payment for an investment loan. But in this case, you already have more than 25% equity. So you don't have to give us anything. So they send 120,000 to the title company for the refi. Title company pays your uncle. Then you're becoming with 120,000, 30-year fixed loan, amortization loan, and that it's either covers the the rent covers the mortgage, or even have some cash flow, and you own a property that you have given nothing out of yourself, no cash flow to the property, you have $80,000 of equity, and it's cash flowing a couple $100. So then close it and you move to the next one. And this could be done within 60 days, 45 to 60 days.
This is called the BRRRR on steroids, my friends. So you described that perfectly. I'm going to share with you, and I'm shameless plug. I'm a coaching student of yours, and I learned this from yours, from you. This opened my mind up to endless possibilities and endless amounts of wealth on the balance sheet, right? So here's a legitimate example on me following Oggie's process to the T, because this is going on in real time. You remember the property we talked about in Monroe, my hometown. I live, not in that neighborhood, but it's in the same zip code. I buy this property from a and then after I share the story, I want to make some key points that people need to be aware of to do this successfully. So I bought the property for 140. I borrowed 160 from a private money investor. So I borrowed more than the purchase price. In this specific example, the property needed no repairs. It was perfect. The guy was ultra motivated to dump it. He just needed to get out of that property, right? He moved to Texas. So I bought the property for 140. I borrowed 160, and I knew the value of the property as is, because it didn't need any work, was 240. And appraisal came in at 245. So it was worth more than I thought, because I'm conservative with my numbers. So I buy the property, I get the money, I fund the deal. The day of closing, I put like 15 grand in my pocket, like straight profit, like tax-free. You don't pay taxes on debt. Buy this thing. Immediately, I called my New York guy, my New York banker, mortgage banker guy. And I said, hey, I want to do a rate term refi. And this is where it got like detailed, and it blew my mind, because I was like very clear with him about what I was doing. I said, listen, I owe 160 on this house. My private investor is getting paid on a balloon payment, and he has a 6-month minimum guarantee. So the payoff is going to be 169.9. Can you do the loan for the entire enchilada where I come to the table with no money? And he's like, as long as the appraisal comes in your favor, we can 100% do that, because he's got a first mortgage on the property. That's all we're doing. You're not getting any cash from the deal. I already got the cash from the purchase, right? But they didn't know that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I could have rehabbed the house for all I know. Anyway.
Yeah, they care for the payoff. And as far as the payoff,
that's all they care about.
Equity to cover the down payment and the LTV.
Exactly.
Fine.
So he didn't give a shit. And we're closing that refi loan either this week, well, probably next week at this point. It's already Thursday. But assuming it's going to go through, which is a 99% chance the refi is going to go through, property got appraised for 245. He's going to flush me out completely of the deal in terms of my, the first mortgage. I already rented the property. It's renting for $2,000 a month. I think my PITI is like $1,850. So it's $150 a month, give or take, cash flow, which cash flow doesn't matter. Hence the first episode.
Yep.
And I'm going to be able to fully execute this plan. And literally, I called my mortgage banker about a month ago, and we should be done, closed, and funded in about what's that, a week from now. So let's call it 5-week cycle, right? I didn't have to rehab the property, so that obviously helped, but that wouldn't have mattered anyway, because I would have just taken another month. This strategy, here's the point of that, right? The point is this: that property is going to have 85, 90 grand of equity.
Yeah.
It's going to make a cash flow. Even if it broke even, I don't give a shit, because I got no money in the deal. And I was able to turn the velocity of that money, right, in 60 days versus 12 months. And this strategy is so freaking powerful. If you can just, because all you're doing is you're just.
By the way, how much cash you have left in the deal?
I got paid.
Zero.
I got paid. 15 grand.
That's right, because you don't need any repairs. You just practically paid yourself an assignment fee.
An assignment fee, yeah. And the whole team.
So that's perfect. Yeah. Perfect strategy for
my acquisitions guy made $4 grand on that deal, right? Like tax-free. It's the same. I mean, he got paid from the company, but the point is, like,
the bank paid for everything. It's the bank's money.
The bank paid for the whole enchilada. So here are the critical components to this that I've realized, especially learning from you. In a perfect world, you need to have private money. I mean, that is, if you can have private money instead of hard, you can do it with hard money. If you have private money, that is, regardless of what you're doing, that is the key to growing your flipping or rental business, because that is like gas, is gas for the flame in a good way. Private money is key. If you build those relationships up, they are worth millions of dollars, literally. Second thing is you need to be bankable, right? And we'll have a podcast on that because that's critical and that's a whole nother topic. I'm very bankable, thank God. You're very bankable, right? You want to be bankable because it makes
you have no choice, man. Everybody
no
that's
choice.
listening, if you decide to go into the buy and hold business, to buy investment properties, doesn't matter how much cash you have, at some point, you're going to be forced to work with lenders in the banks.
Have to.
So you better start now, be bankable. So when you walk into a bank, you can ask for $1 million immediately and they're going to be happy to give
They'll
it to
be
you.
licking their lips to give you the money. And part of your coaching program is auditing your bankability, which was invaluable. We determined that with Raphael, and he was like, "You're squeaky clean." Pat, my guy, said the same shit. He's like, "You're squeaky clean, credit."
Yeah, moving, operating the agreements, the partnership, the LLCs, moving the S corporations around. Yes.
Golden. So you got to be bankable. You got to have private money, and you need to buy the property at a discount. That is the critical, that is the ultimate, because if you can't get the property at about 70 cents on the dollar, you can't screw around with the refi because they're only going to give you a certain dollar amount on the appraised value.
You could, just the ROI will be different.
It'll be lower. Yeah.
But it still makes sense. And this is how.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it on another one where I'm going to have to put some money into the deal, but I don't give a shit because it's a great deal and it's a multifamily.
So if you have $100,000 to invest in properties, and the regular way requires you to put 20% down payment.
Yes.
If you use our strategy, the BRRRR on steroids, and do only 10% down payment, then you're going to buy twice more properties, which is going to double your ROI with the same amount of cash. So it's just spread the risk and double your ROI. It's just have to go this particular way, which is perfectly, not that hard. You just need to know all the little moving parts.
Yeah. And once you do your first one, I will say the most tedious part of this is not the rehab. It's not any of that shit. That's easy. It's easy depending on who's your contractor, right? The biggest pain in the ass about this, and I can tell all the listeners right now, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, that's worth it. Getting a loan is a pain in the ass. I don't know. That's just a fact. Getting a mortgage is you got to submit a shitload of paperwork. They audit you. It's just the whole thing. If you can be in these deals for no money or little money, it's 10x worth it. I hate getting mortgages, right? I hate it. And the first one's always the hardest one, right? And then after that, it gets easier because they have all your paperwork.
Especially when you're right. If you use one particular lender that you like, give them the paperwork once, and it's just an updating.
Yeah. This strategy will change your life. I'm making that claim right here. I'm not a big claim kind of guy. This is the way to get rich in rental properties. This is the best strategy. I've done subject to, I've done owner financing. I've done all that stuff. I've done the regular BRRRRs. This is the best strategy because of the velocity and your ability to do the rate and term refi versus the cash out refi. Like this alone here, if you just listen to this podcast and implemented what we're sharing, it will change the way you buy properties. You'll be able to stack a lot more properties up sooner. And the main thing that I love about, and I'm so grateful that you shared this with me, Oggie, is it changes your thinking. You think about the whole entire evolution of business completely differently. It's like you're in the matrix.
Yeah, everybody's talking about cash flow, getting the 1% rule, minimum $500 a month. No.
That's for the dogs.
That changed the last 20 years of the economy, that the way the government's been handling everything, you have to change in order to make money.
100%. So
go ahead.
I was going to say this BRRRR on steroids, literally is so freaking powerful. And it's such a good tool to use.
So I also highly recommend this for everybody that even have the cash. If you even have the cash to buy the property, you don't need your rich uncle, you don't need hard money. I still recommend you to borrow 100%. And this is how we solve the problem. I mean, we did it. So what we do is, for you, same thing, we're creating a hard money company that you own. So we're putting it in a state that nobody can find out that you own it. So instead of buying the property outright cash, the same property, 100,000 that you were supposed to buy, but I'm in my scenario, and you need 20 for repairs, instead of coming up with 120, what you do is put the 120 into your hard money company that you control. That hard money company gives you a private money loan to you personally, and you record 120,000 purchase money loan. And then that's how you create purchase money loan with your own personal cash. You don't have to pay yourself interest. So a month later, same thing, you go refi, the banks puts a 30-year amortization, low interest rate loan. You pay yourself your hard money company disperse the cash back to you, and you're ready for the next one. So
that is ninja.
So that's how you use your own cash, and you don't even need hard money or private money. The same scenario actually works for people that don't have all the cash and don't have rich uncle. They have to go to a hard money guy. So let's say the $100,000 that you buy, you need, the hard money guy says, I'll give you 70. You have to come up with 30% down payment, which is 30,000. But if you do that, then you're gonna have this money locked. You're not gonna be able to get it cash out for probably a year. So what you do is you still create your own hard money company, put the down payment there, and give yourself a second loan, second position loan that it's taken at the same time of the closing. So practically do 70-30, and 70-30 together makes 100% purchase money loan that you're gonna refi later. Actually, you don't give yourself loan for 30,000 plus the repairs, 20,000. So your hard money company gives you a second loan, second position loan for 50,000, and then you have 120 purchase money loan. So you get it done, and that's how you do it with mixture between your own cash and the hard money lender, so you can get out of it within 2 months and just repeat it again. 100%. So the same 50,000 that you have, you can just recycle again and again and again. You can do it easily. So I would recommend somebody that's starting one property every 6 months. Somebody like you, one property every 1 or 2 months.
That's our track. That's our run rate, man. I got 2 lined up right now, man. And that was, I'm glad you shared that other way to do it with the hard money, because the bank, number one, just cares about the first position. They just care about the payoff. The payoff could be the 2 liens, right? It's the same thing.
They want purchase money loan. Purchase money loan could be 80-20-10, 80-10-10, 80-20. It can be just, it has to be taken at the time of purchasing the property. Exactly. Not afterwards.
Exactly. So that's golden. And we'll wrap the show up with this, right? Because I want to keep the show around 30 minutes. I'm working on another one right now. It's that damn short sale that keeps coming. Like it's just the bank's a pain in the ass. But the perfect BRRRR on steroids, got the private money lender lined up. He's literally sitting there with his checkbook ready to write the check, right? Good friend of mine. So private money's key. I got another one that I'm going to put together today. We're going to start to get the contract out. It's in New York. It's a multifamily 2-unit. I'm going to have to put money into that deal because of the purchase price, which I'm okay with. But I already called the rate and term guy. I already got I'm going to use hard money on this one, most likely because of the financials make more sense because of the lower interest rate. But the main point I'm trying to say is it opens your eyes up to doing this at scale, right? Versus like, oh, well, when I do my cash out refi in a year, I'll do the next one. Like this is like boom, 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 boom. You start stacking these properties up and you look back and you go, holy shit, I got 10 properties with barely my money in it. I got $2 million in equity and I make, $3,000 a month in cash flow and without whether I work or not. And
don't forget the tax benefits.
Oh, that's going to
save paying taxes from all these wholesale deals that you do.
The tax benefits alone saved me like at least $50,000 in taxes. Like legit Greg Helbeck avoiding
any wholesaler or fix and flipper, they absolutely must have rental properties. Otherwise, you're paying too much money in taxes.
Getting smoked. And we'll do another show on that. So Oggie, this has been extremely valuable for me to learn this from you. I'm forever grateful for your coaching program. And I genuinely mean that, brother. If people want to connect with you and they want to learn about how they can work with you, what is the best way for them to reach out?
Just find me on Facebook, or Instagram, just my name, Oggie Penev, OGGIEPENEV, or just call me on my cell. Call me directly on my cell. Text me 602-405-8156.
Beautiful.
602-405-8156. Just text me directly. Have a conversation. Let me see what you do, how I can help, if I can help. And then I'm telling you, give me a wholesaler as like you, like Greg. I'm gonna make you wealthy. I'm gonna make
You're
you
already
wealthy.
doing it, buddy.
Yes.
You're already
yes.
doing it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, man. I'm so grateful for our, relationship and this coaching and whatnot, and just being able to connect with you all the time. So have a great day. We'll end the show now. And reach out to Oggie if you really want to learn how to do this at a high level.